Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host, Dave. Sarge is not with me today. He had his plate full the past couple of weeks with me being gone, so gave him the day off. So I'm being joined by none other than Nicholas Einstman, host of Oh Look, Another Ghost podcast. How's it going, buddy?
Dave, it is going great. You know, I figured that for those of you who won't be able to see the name that I've chosen for Riverside, I've chosen the corpse of Paul Revere in honor of Sarge because, you know, he's Mr. New England.
Yeah, he's actually in Boston right now, doing something. I don't know what he's doing.
Boston things. Probably going to Dunkin' Donuts.
Fighting a cop. Who knows? You know, just random Boston stuff. Whatever.
He needs his icy at Nathaniel Hall. It's fun.
Exactly. So what's new, bud? How are things with you? How's life?
Things are good. I'm currently going like A-bomb in my house and redecorating everything. Much to the dismay of my roommate and my girlfriend, but it's fine. Things are good.
Who's your roommate?
My roommate is my dad. I had my dad move in. It's actually great, but he is very confused why everything is now like off the walls, and he has more random movie posters in his room from like the 50s, all of which are starring Bela Lugosi, because I thought it'd be funny to put like the 5 Dracula movies he's in his room.
Just that'd be funny to hear you say that your roommate is your dad, because that's like it reminds me of like Nick Swardson from Grandma's Boy.
He's very much my roommate.
I know. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, Nick started a new podcast. It's called Oh Look, Another Ghost. It's a paranormal podcast covering a wider range of stuff from ghosts, cryptids, aliens. I'm sure there's some more esoteric stuff that I'm forgetting, but you know, just random shit that's spooky and you know, spooky.
Yeah. That's pretty much the basis behind it, right? It started off because I didn't want to keep bombarding Anya with random like ghost facts or alien abductions when we were driving past places. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast and I can still tell you this information, but at least it's more, you know, productive, air quotes.
Exactly.
And it's going great.
Yeah. It's not as patronizing or annoying when it's in a medium that other people will listen to and you're not just screaming it into her ears.
Yeah. You know, not just like drunk off of, you know, banquets like, and in Benny and Barney Hill in Laconia, New Hampshire, believe it or not, I actually drove past the gas station.
I went to the gas station not too long ago in Franconia.
I know you were telling me, dude. Yeah. It's so cool.
It is cool.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Jinx.
You owe me a soda or Narragansett, Mr. Award-winning podcast.
I do have a case of Narragansett for you that you can have. The other thing too is today I'm going to be drinking out of this blood bag. I got it from my work. Don't worry about it. It's mostly just Wild Turkey 101 and Kool-Aid. So this is going to be a fun episode. Are you ready to dive into today's episode, Nick?
Yeah, let me take a sip of my really poorly made highball with mandarin orange tasting seltzer and Japanese whiskeys. That's all I have in my house, apparently.
I know. This is actually surprisingly, it smells stronger than it tastes. This is going to be dangerous. All right. So, Nick, throughout the course of this show, we've covered a lot of weird topics. Me and you together on this show have covered some pretty weird fucking topics. A lot of different things like sightings of cryptids, aliens, and a paranormal mongoose with the personality and maturity level of a 4chan user.
My name is Jeff.
And we always try like at the end of the episode, try to like break down the stories from both like a believer's and a skeptic's point of view. Hold on, let me rephrase that. What we do is we find other people's theories about what may have happened and then talk shit about all the ones we don't like. And then we just go with the ones that we think is the most fun because fuck you.
Right.
This is my show. It's what we're going to do.
Got it.
But one theory that's always popping up, and it's a reason behind sightings witnessed by multiple people, whether it be like a cryptid, a UFO, aliens, hauntings, whatever. This one's always tossed in the mix is mass or shared delusions. So, yeah. So I wanted to know just like what the fuck is a shared delusion. So I did some digging and I decided to do a whole episode about it.
This is going to be, I have some serious thoughts on the mass hysteria phenomena.
Yeah. So for anyone who don't know, shared delusions or Folie, Deux, which literally translates to madness of two, refer to situations where delusional beliefs or even sometimes hallucinations, or for lack of a better term, they're like transmitted from one person to another. But it's not just limited to being between two people. There's also folie à plusieurs, which translates to madness with others, which is basically the same concept, but is for when like the delusions are shared within like groups, usually cropping up in like isolated settings. And like these individuals will just feed into and reinforce other people's delusions. It's like that movie. You ever see the movie Bug? I think it's called with,
I don't know. All I know is you said madness of two or whatever. What was the saying that you just said?
Folie à Deux.
So is that the hit 2024 movie Joker 2 that just came out?
No, we're actually going to be talking about the Fall Out Boy album called Folie à Deux, featuring one of my favorite songs, America's Sweethearts.
It's a bit of a deep cut there.
It's one of my favorites. Right? Yeah, it's not one of their most well-received albums. Now, some notable examples in recent history of shared delusions, mass hysteria, whatever you want to call it, include cases like the Collier brothers, Homer and Langley. These brothers came from an extraordinarily wealthy family, but after their parents passed, they became like full-on shut-ins. Over time, they became paranoid about thieves and were fully convinced that others wanted to break into their home and steal their stuff. So they began stockpiling and hoarding all of their things and even setting elaborate Home Alone style traps throughout the mansion to deter those like imagined intruders from gaining entry. By the time the police discovered their bodies in 1947, the Collier brothers mansion was filled with 140 tons of shit, including newspapers, pianos, multiple pianos, and a full-on Model T Ford car.
All right. So my first question here, not even question, just thought. Have you ever seen the movie Mousetrap?
No, but I played the game.
All right. So
is it the same concept?
It's the same concept. These two brothers just like rig their house full of booby traps, where they're trying to kill this one mouse. And that's my first thought process.
This sounds like it would have like Nathan Lane in it. Is this a Nathan Lane movie?
No, you know the guy from Birdcage, not Robin Williams, the other one.
Nathan Lane.
Is it Nathan Lane? If it's Nathan Lane, then yes. You know what? I'm going to look this up really quick. But that was a staple in the Einstman household. Oh, I'm going to hate myself for not knowing this.
All right. Well,
Mousetrap movie.
While you're looking that up, I'll just keep going. But pretty much their fear of being robbed, like their self-isolation and their paranoia led to them just accumulating so much stuff that it ultimately led to their deaths because they were unable to navigate their own barricaded home. They basically trapped themselves in their own home with garbage, which if you've ever seen the show Hoarders, seems pretty much on point. Yeah. Now you also got cases like the Silent Twins, June and Jennifer Gibbons. These are twin sisters from Wales who became pretty well known for their weird as fuck behavior. They developed their own language where they were socially withdrawn and just like unhealthily codependent. And as they grew older, their shared world got a little darker. They started dabbling in petty crimes like, theft and arson.
Got it. So the usual.
Yeah. Just light stuff. Their relationship was weird because both sisters would blame the other for their troubles, but also refuse to function independently from one another. So they're just kind of.
Yeah. It's just, they're a little off. Also, it was Nathan Lane's, but Christopher Walken is also in that movie. I might watch it later, to be honest with you.
All right. Now, eventually, after years of like some unknown shared delusion and some time in a psychiatric hospital, Jennifer died under strange circumstances, which apparently she had predicted would happen and was also fulfilling some sort of pact that the twins had, but no one knew what it was because they speak their own fucking language. It's weird as shit. But after Jennifer died, June just became like a normal person. She's just like, yeah, I'm fine now. You good? Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of this, this case a little bit.
Yeah.
And every time I hear of it, I'm just like, was the one sister that was fine after the other one died, was she just playing along?
I don't know. I think it's just like once the other person, or once one of the people is out of the shared delusion, I think it kind of just like you kind of start seeing the world for what it is and not what is in your head, if that makes sense. Because there was that family in Australia that like they all shared a delusion, then they all fucking abandoned their homes and just started driving in a car, and one by one, as like they got further and further away from their home, like they just kind of like, yeah, this is crazy, right? And they would just bounce, and then it just slowly did that until everyone was fine again.
Yeah,
like,
until everyone was out.
Yeah, I don't know. But those are just examples. The last case, and the real case I want to talk about, and the one that this episode, like I said, is mainly going to focus on, and actually like we're going to dive into this, is that of Gloria Ramirez, a 31-year-old mother of two. She is at the center of one of the most perplexing medical mysteries that has taken place over the past, like, in the past, like 20 years. Now, you and listeners may not know the name Gloria Ramirez, but it's possible you might be more familiar with the name given to her by the media, and that is the Toxic Lady. Are you familiar with the Toxic Lady?
I want to say yes, but I did just watch the Toxic Avenger last night, so probably not.
You're just conflating the two.
Listen, I'm more of a face guy, right? I can remember a face, but I cannot for the life of me, remember names. Like if you want to put the Son of Sam in front of me, like just to show me his face, like, oh yeah, Son of Sam.
Yeah.
Or David Berkowitz, but like names.
Okay.
I thought your name was like Andrew for the first 6 months of knowing you.
Yeah, that happens. So this story is everything. Mysterious chemical reactions, strange symptoms, an ER so chaotic that you would expect like George Clooney to pop up, and a decades-long debate over whether everything experienced was due to toxicology or psychology. Are you ready to dive in?
Born ready. Let's do it. Let's get toxic, Dave.
So on February 19th, 1994, at around 8 p.m., Gloria Ramirez, the aforementioned 31-year-old mother of two, and also a late-stage cervical cancer haver, was brought into the ER of Riverside General Hospital in Riverside, California, having severe heart palpitations, confusion, and shortness of breath. Upon arriving at the ER, the staff immediately began caring for her, because that's what you do when you are in the ER.
Right.
They gave her sedatives like diazepam, midazolam, and marazepam to try and calm her down as they like administered care, but her condition just continued to worsen. Her blood pressure was dropping and her heart rate was rapidly declining. So the doctors decided we need to defibrillate. I can't say it. Defibrillate her. There we go.
Defibrillate?
I think we both just botched.
Butchered that one.
And
they gave her the paddles.
Yeah, and this is when the medical staff started noticing some strange observations about their patient. So first, when they opened her shirt for the defibrillator, they noticed her skin had a weird oily sheen to it. And one nurse, Susan Kane, noted a garlic-like odor coming from Ramirez's mouth. But that's not really like that weird, like oily skin and garlic breath. These are all things that can easily describe Nick on most days. What is weird, though... You didn't appreciate that one.
No, the problem is I can't really deny it. I like specifically puts a lot of minced garlic in my eggs in the morning, and I just naturally have oily skin. So like,
yeah, that was a low blow. I just thought that
was a good one.
It was there, and I could not do it. You know what I mean?
Listen, if your nickname is Macaroni, you gotta look the part.
And so, all right, but what is weird though is when Nurse Maureen Welch, she drew a blood sample. She noticed that it smelled very strongly of ammonia, and in the vial of blood, Welch and other noticed strange yellowish brown particles floating in it, which was quote was highly unusual and immediately raised the alarm. Which yeah, I fucking hope so. Like she's got chunky blood. That's not good. Yeah.
No, you just got congealed blood.
It's not, well, no, there's like specks in it. I don't know. It was like brown and yellow specks. But so pretty much it's safe to say that the ER staff was a little anxious while working on her, like not knowing what was wrong with her. It's like, it's not every day you get a gold glitter blood filled garlic buttered breadstick in the ER. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, let me ask you this, and we'll sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Was she at the infamous all-you-can-eat pasta at Olive Garden when you're here, your family? Because if she was there before, That explains a lot.
It does. This is 1994. I don't know if that was a thing then. It could have been.
Oh. Olive Garden was a thing.
Yeah, but anyways, this had some people on edge, but they did their best to try and stabilize her. But shit got like way weirder from here. So not long after interacting with Ramirez, Welch, the nurse who drew Ramirez's blood, began to feel dizzy and fainted. Within minutes, several other ER staff members also collapsed, while all others started experiencing symptoms like nausea, shortness of breath, muscle spasms, and even temporary paralysis. Dr. Julia Gorshinsky, the doctor who was like actually examining her blood, began feeling dizzy and then started suffering from muscle spasms so severe that she required physical therapy afterwards, and reported that even after that, she was unable to control her limbs for some time afterwards. So now you got a woman who looks and smells and has the blood of like an overly garlic pesto. You have medical staff dropping like flies just being around this woman. Shit's getting pretty serious. The sudden wave of illnesses was so intense that the hospital declared an internal emergency, and then eventually, after more staff started dropping, hospital administrators made the decision to evacuate the ER like entirely, which is rarely happens, leaving Ramirez alone with a skeleton crew of staff that are in full-on hazmat suits to continue to like try and stabilize her. But despite their best efforts, Gloria Ramirez was pronounced dead only 45 minutes after she arrived. How you feeling?
Whoa.
We got a little bit of ways to go. So if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, to not think about what the name of the episode is, right? And kind of the overarching theme of the episode. I mean, my first thought immediately goes to like, was she radioactive? Did she, I don't know, like work around somewhere around that? Did she come across an ancient vial of garlic that just happened to be so filled with the bad type of probiotics that just killed everyone? I don't really know. I know I've had garlic that's fucked me up for a couple days. Yeah. But this is just, you know, a whole nother level of weird.
It's weird.
Now my question, and I'm sure you're gonna answer this in the next couple of minutes. Yeah. Did she just come in by herself? Or like, did anyone bring her in? Because I would love to know what happened to the person that she was like in the car with.
That I don't know. And I never saw anything saying anything other. I would assume that she was probably brought in by ambulance. I think. That's
who you got to talk to.
The EMT driver?
The EMTs. Oh yeah. EMTs don't fuck around. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. There was never that part of the story was never in anything that I read about it. So I don't know. That is a good question. Like, what happened? Like, is her kid okay? She has a kid. Yeah. Like, is he fucking sick?
Is he just breathing garlic on people like the Black Plague and killing them with pesto? Or
I don't know. But well, maybe when we finish this, maybe we'll have some more cohesive thoughts about a theory. All right.
Perfect.
So after her death, an autopsy was not conducted immediately, as officials were concerned about toxic exposure. Instead, her body was placed in a sealed body bag that was in turn sealed in an aluminum coffin, and that was then brought to a special isolation room. It's like the beginning of like a post-apocalyptic horror movie. Like they were like not risking like anything or anyone getting infected by this thing. Now, the days following her death, Riverside County health officials, toxicologists, and forensic teams, they began investigating to figure out just what the fuck had happened and like what caused the staff to suffer from these like wildly extreme symptoms. Because like more than 20 people, like hospital workers, were affected. 5 required hospitalization, and some of those had to be treated in intensive care. So like, it wasn't just like, oh, my belly hurts. Like, people got fucked up because this lady came into the ER. But
right,
given the unusual symptoms, investigators had some early theories cooking up. One, chemical contamination. An early theory was that she had been exposed to some sort of toxic or possibly even, like you said, radioactive chemical. Possibly as like a result of like her cancer treatment. Because remember, she was in late stages of cervical cancer. The thing is, though, is that no known chemotherapy agents would have produced the specific symptoms that were shown in the staff. Investigators also looked into like the possibility of like the hospital contaminants in the hospital, but didn't find anything unusual. Because you hear this shit all the time. People going to the hospital for like a fucking bruised foot and then they have AIDS. Like you know what I mean? Like that shit it happens. It's not unusual, but they didn't find anything like that. The second theory was drug interaction or toxin. The forensic experts on the case examined her blood for traces of like recreational drugs or poisonous substances, but those results were inconclusive. There was also some speculation that Ramirez could have ingested an unusual home remedy of some sort, or like some sort of like medication that caused a reaction, but there was no direct evidence of that, like that was found. The third theory is the DMSO theory. So a month after the incident, the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory presented a theory, and this one is pretty much what like is widely accepted due to it being the most plausible. But I mean, who are you gonna believe? Fucking bunch of nerds in lab coats?
Yes.
Okay.
For the most part.
Now, anyways, their theory is that she may have used something called dimethyl sulfoxide, or DMSO. It's an industrial solvent that was sometimes used as a home remedy for pain relief. Now, this is like way back in the day. I guess this stuff used to be touted as like a cure-all until like the 60s. Like a bunch of studies came out saying it was bad for you, but like people would use it all the time. Like professional athletes would use it to like help with muscle pains. I guess you just kind of like rub that in like lotion.
Was this the stuff that turned people blue?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Damn.
But you know, I get it. Like when you're in the late stages of cancer, you'll try anything to kind of like feel better. I'm sure.
Right.
The thing is that DMSO, when exposed to oxygen, it can convert to dimethyl sulfone, or DMSO2, which is harmless, but under certain conditions, DMSO2 can further convert into dimethyl sulfate, or DMSO4, which is a toxic gas that can cause symptoms similar to those that the staff was experiencing. So like dizziness, vomiting, muscle spasms. So what they're basically saying is that due to Ramirez's alleged DMSO use and an ER being a place that's pretty rich in oxygen, there's oxygen to every fucking where, a chemical reaction occurred that produced the toxic fumes. It's solid theory. The thing is, it's still controversial because the exact conditions required to produce DMSO4 from DMSO are like wildly specific and they're super rare. Like it'd have to be like a 1 in a 10 billion chance that this would happen from her being in the emergency room.
Right.
So those are some of the theories. Now, they finally got around to doing an autopsy. 3 of them to be exact, including one like right before one like right before she was buried. But these autopsies revealed like nothing in terms of conclusive toxicology. Her tissue showed signs of her cancer and traces of her cancer meds and the meds they gave her in the ER, but no signs of any toxic agents. Her organs were normal, and there weren't any signs of any chemical reaction that could directly explain what had happened to the staff. And it's because of this lack of evidence, this opened up the door to the theory that made me want to do this episode, the mass hysteria, mass psychogenic illness, and shared delusion theory. Before we get into it, you good?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, there's something to be said about how the body reacts to different chemical agents to begin with, right? Like, I mean, let's look at like, you know, the vaccine, right? Like I got my vaccinations for COVID, no problem. You know, just as healthy as I was before that, right? Now I have like very close family members who took the vaccine, were normally healthy, and then started to, like within a year, started developing like very off the wall symptoms, right? Things that like, and this is obviously not even just a conspiracy. It's just what happened. Like within the same time frame, they started developing like random Alex Jones. They're turning the frogs game, but like, you know, your body, everyone's bodies reacts very differently to different things. So yeah, you know, it's plausible that Gloria was definitely using, was it DSMO? Am I saying that right? DMSO, right? And then she had the 1 in a million chance of it becoming DSMO-02, you know, that could counteract with her chemotherapy. I'm assuming there might be some further evidence down the line, but I'm definitely not ruling out mass hysteria by any chance, you know, any stretch of the imagination.
So with like no clear chemical, viral, or bacteria culprit to speak of, some medical experts started fucking around with the possibility of like the mass psychogenic illness, aka mass hysteria, aka folie à plaisir. This can occur when a group of people in a high stress environment experience similar symptoms due to psychological triggers rather than anything actually like physical. So I think it's safe to say, and I think you would agree with me, that ER staff are often, if not consistently, under what some would call intense stress. I think that's like a fair assumption.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So with the combination of like the unusual smell, weird blood, a severely ill patient, garlic, and the confusion of just like what exactly the fuck is going on, this could have set off a chain reaction of like psychosomatic symptoms. Supporters of this theory argue that the staff members shared like their shared expectations of like illness, fear, and stress led to their symptoms. Critics, because there's always going to be critics, pointed out that some staff members like experience severe physical symptoms like long-term muscle spasms, which, I mean, to their credit, it's hard to like put those solely on like psychological shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I mean, who knows? Like the Gloria Ramirez case became like a national story, covered extensively by the media. The public was fucking like enthralled by the concept of a quote unquote toxic lady. And her case like even helped raise concerns about the potential dangers of chemical exposure in medical settings. Over time, though, interest in the case faded, as they always do, and official records, like I mentioned before, now lean towards the DMSO theory as the most likely explanation. But there's still like some uncertainty. But same can be said for like the delusions stuff. Dr. Julian Gerchensky, the one who was most like severely affected by the out of the ER staff, the one who had to go to like physical therapy and her legs were all fucked up. Like she disputes even like the notion of mass hysteria theory, stating that her symptoms were too severe to have been psychologically induced. Her case in particular, as well as others, do kind of cast doubt on it being completely psychological. But I mean, the mind's weird, the body's weird, who the fuck knows? But whether it was a result of some unknown obscure chemical reaction or some sort of mass psychogenic response, the Gloria Ramirez case will remain and forever will be one of the most unsettling medical mysteries of the past like 20 years. So there you have it, Nick. That is the story of Gloria Ramirez, aka the toxic lady, and a few examples of, you know, shared delusions. Is it one? I don't know, but it was, you know, it's like the mad gasser in Mattoon. People say that was mass hysteria. Was it? Who the fuck knows? I don't know. What do you know?
All I know is I don't know what the fuck happened to Gloria Ramirez.
Right?
I can tell you that much.
It's weird.
I mean, listen, I think that, you know, people, how do I put this without sounding conspiracy-esque?
Oh, sounds conspiracy-esque away. That's the show.
I think this is valid. Really quick. I love what you guys have been doing with your conspiracy episodes. It's great. So much fun. I think that a lot of people downplay how much control the mind has over the body. And obviously it's like, well, I'm going to go get a glass of water. You get up and you get yourself a glass of water.
No, your mind is doing shit behind the scenes that can fuck your world up and you have no idea.
Well, that's it. I mean, listen, if you're told for, you know, a couple of months, oh, if it walks like a duck, it's a duck. But in reality, it's chicken. You're going to think that it's a duck because you were raised thinking that it was a duck. And you were taught one thing when in reality it's another, right? I mean, look at what's her name? Gypsy Rose.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she was told her entire life that she was sick and she wasn't. Maybe a little mentally off kilt. So you start seeing people that you work with, other health professionals, you know, start dropping like flies. And, you know, that sniffle that you could have had this morning when you walked in because you were an idiot and walked outside in 65-degree weather with a t-shirt on, you know, could now very quickly turn into, oh, well, my left arm feels like I have 10,000 needles in it. And now I can't move my limbs.
Yeah. It's right. It's amazing. Like I said, like, cause that's the thing, like you seeing other people, like, it's like that, it is that psychosomatic thing. Like you're in a weird scenario. You're in a high stress environment. All of a sudden fucking a piece of 5 cheese Texas toast rolls in, smelling like garlic, glistening from the oils. And all of a sudden,
listen, we got a couple breadsticks in here. We got to get them on the LOR table stat.
You mean the OG table, Olive Garden? Because when you're here, you're family. But
This episode is definitely not sponsored by Olive Garden.
But I mean, if they're open to the idea, I'm more than willing. But all of a sudden, like this, you're already under stress because who knows? Maybe like in the 5 hours leading up to this, you've had like 5 gunshot patients. Fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
You're just going and going and going. Then all of a sudden, fucking boom, Alfredo's on the fucking gurney, and then one of the doctors like, oh, I don't feel well. And you're like, fuck, it has to be because of this fucking garlic glitter blood lady. And then
pesto pally.
Yeah, pesto bitch. And then this
pesto Parmela.
Yeah, we're
Pamela.
Yeah. Also, R.I.P. Gloria. I'm so sorry. We're being so disrespectful. but anyways, so one doctor's like, it starts like fucking kibbing out, and you're like, fuck, dude, this lady's toxic as shit. It has to be. And then you start feeling that way because you fucking you sat on your wallet too long and now your leg's numb, and you associate that with fucking, I don't know, lady over there.
Yeah, with pesto poly. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I guess my question, right? And
I'm
this
not
is just
gonna
how
have an
weird
answer.
my brain is. No, I know. Do you think that when they were rolling her in the whatchamacallit, the orderly or the nurse home or
Candy strapper,
hospitals,
whatever.
Right. Whoever the guy that's pushing was in his head humming Gloria by Van Morrison. And then immediately, like, as I was like last breath of feeling semi-normal, was like, Gloria, and then puked pesto from the night before on her.
We can only hope. We can only hope that is what happened. Case solves.
Case solved. It's just, satanic recording of Van Morrison's Gloria.
Yeah.
Infected the entire hospital. I mean, listen, I think there's something to be said about mass hysteria. You see it a lot in alien UFO sightings and cryptid sightings.
Yeah. It's always the number one, like, everyone's just seeing shit.
Y'all are fucking crazy. When in reality, like, Kevin got, anally probed by Klaxar from like Geronimo 9, right?
Yeah.
And he's just now dealing with the repercussions. I think mass hysteria is a very interesting theory for not only this case, just every, I'll say high strangeness case.
It's a weird theory for this one because there was physical symptoms they saw, you know what I mean? Like whether or not they got sick from it, like this one makes more sense. Like there's like cases of mass hysteria and like shared, like the fucking, like the dancing plague, you know what I mean? Like, or the laughing plague in Africa, like shit like that. Like that's, to me, mass hysteria. This is like something had to have happened. This is the first time I'm not. This is the first time I'm not going to go mass hysteria. It's like something happened. Physical.
So it's right, and it's funny because, as you know, I buy and sell watches. Right, I'm starting to like repair them and all that stuff. And I actually just watched a documentary called The Radium Girls. Yeah,
because they used to lick their tongue, like the paintbrushes.
Right. So like what they would use to make the watches like illuminate at night when it got dark out is they'd use
uranium or some shit.
Yeah.
So this is radioactive material.
And when they would lick the tips to try and get that finer point.
Yeah.
And the first couple of girls that were getting sick, a lot of the managers and the owners of the watchmaking houses were like, you guys are out of your fucking mind. Like there's nothing wrong here. And then it turned out that they were all legitimately being
radiation
poisoned
poisoning.
by radiation poison, which is why they no longer use, for
anyone who couldn't see that, he just did air quotes. So that kind of makes me a little fucking, I don't wear watches, so I don't care. I'll have my wrists later on in life. They're not going to get fucking tumored out.
Exactly. No, they don't use that compound anymore. They're still using certain aspects of a very, very low radiation. It's the same type of radiation that you're getting from your cell phone. And a lot of companies have switched to bioluminescence as opposed to radioactive compounds.
Yeah.
That's my thing of like, okay, well, you think about this case, it's very real that turned out that people thought was a mass hysteria case, turned out to being something that was genuinely happening. It's not out of the realm of possibility that there was something wrong with Gloria Ramirez. And it's not because the Van Morrison song was written about her. It's because Olive Garden tried a new pesto and turns out someone spilled chemical X into it.
I mean,
and she didn't become the Powerpuff Girls. She just died.
No, that's fair. I mean, yeah. I mean, me and you will definitely not get to the bottom of this, but I'm just going to say that I don't buy. This is the one time I don't believe in mass hysteria, anyways. But this is the one time like this is not like as much as I want it to be because it'd be cool, it'd be funny. That something happened. Like there's something going on here that is medically, but also they waited way too long to do an autopsy. They did 3 of them after, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they should have done it as soon as she croaked. Just
Yeah.
get the old, the old knife out and just
fucking, yeah, like field dressing a deer.
yeah, like you gotta. At that point, like
I just
kind of have to throw.
They gave her the
caution
full
wind.
like werewolf treatment. Like they're like put her in a sealed bag, put that inside of a sealed metal coffin, put that inside of a room that no one can get into. Like that's hilarious.
I mean, my question is she encased in concrete in her
grave,
in her final resting place?
I think most people are, aren't they?
I don't know. I'm not a grave digger.
I don't know how graves work.
I'm pretty sure they just dig a hole and they put you in a box and they throw you in, spit on you, and then they throw the dirt back in.
All right. Well, there you go. There you go, everyone. That's the story of Gloria Ramirez. It's pretty interesting. I just, running out of cryptid, so
yeah, there's
a finite number.
You've done
of those.
A lot of them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's almost going up 2 years now. That's wild.
Yeah. I remember when you started the show.
So do I. It sucked back then. It still sucks now, but it's like a little bit better. It sounds better.
The quality has gotten better audio wise. It's still the same terrible jokes that are recycled. It's great. I love it.
All right, Nick. Before we sign off, I just want to thank you for coming on. Is there anything you want to plug? You got your show. You got some other stuff going on, I'm sure. So the floor is yours. Take it away.
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show. Dave, your episode is actually going to be on this week of our podcast, Oh, Look Into the Ghost, where we talk about a cryptid, or not even a cryptid. It's not a cryptid. It's a folklore, piece of folklore. Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited to get on the air. That's coming out on Tuesday.
Hope I wasn't too aggressive during that episode. I was.
Oh no!
I was on
slice,
one.
But
I was. I get mad real easy.
And you'll find out why Dave was so mad on this episode. Go follow us on Instagram at Oh Look Into the Ghost or on TikTok at Look Into the Ghost. And Dave, thanks again for having me on the show.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to tag Oh Look Into the Ghost in this post. It'll be a collaborative Instagram post, so you'll be able to see it.
And vice versa, buddy.
Let's see. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on TikTok, Cryptid Cocktail Party. I think that, please leave a rating and review. It would be amazing if you could do that. Even if you give it, if you're going to leave a bad review, at least give us 5 stars, 5 stars. But just write something, just tell me how much I suck. Cause I hate getting 1-star reviews and then no comment. Like if you're going to at least rate us 5 stars, but then just fucking unhinged. You can obliterate. Just go fucking full off. Even if you like the show, I think it'd be really funny to have a bunch of 5-star reviews and then just fucking just trash raving,
seething reviews. And to the person that I don't know, was it last week that you guys went from 5 to a 4.9?
5 to 4.9 on Spotify because I don't know how you can't see the individual ones.
Yeah, you can't.
So
and
I don't know.
You can't write reviews on Spotify. So the guy whoever left you anything but a 5 on Spotify, I'll find you.
Yeah.
And I'll tickle your toes.
To be fair, it happened when I was gone and Sarge was doing the episode. So I already told him I blame him for those. So that's on him. He can get that back. I'm
doing just fine. And I'm coming out of my cage.
Yeah. All right. So with that, thank you everyone so much for listening. And Nick, would you like to say goodbye? And I love you. Oh, real quick. Thank you to Scared All the Time podcast. They gave us a little shout out on their new episode. That means a lot coming from someone who's on the Astonishing Legends network. So thank you so much.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Apparently I sent them an email. I don't remember ever sending them an email. I don't remember what it was said or even if it was me who did it. Don't know. Couldn't tell you, but hey.
There's a great thing called
I looked in my send box and it wasn't there. So I didn't do it. Anyways. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So go listen to not Astonishing Legends. Go listen to Scared All the Time podcast. They're celebrating their 1-year anniversary right now with a series of fucking episodes. It's 5 episodes in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, it's banana. I couldn't even imagine doing that. So good on them. They're hard workers. The show's great. If you like this stuff, you'll probably like that as well. All right. So with that out of the way, Nick, would you like to say goodbye and I love you to the audience?
Goodbye. I love you. Don't forget. I was trying to think of the ending of the Truman Show, but I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. So have a good one.
It's good morning, and if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
There we go.
Yeah, right.